Hello, everybody. How are you doing on this fine Sunday evening? Here we go, as Ed says in the chat. Should have some fun tonight talking some Inter-Miami football. So join in the chat, get busy talking, and introduce yourself, and let's get talking. And anything is on the table. So if you want to drive some of the conversation in the chat, do it. But as always, I don't do this by myself. Let's say hello to everybody's favorite uncle, Uncle Ed. Oops, wrong one, but right one.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, how's it going, guys? Looking forward to this season. I mean, so much, information coming in already, and our guest is gonna fill us in on all the good stuff. Peter Brown, this is exciting.
Yeah, when we talked, we talked a little bit about, going back to kind of like what we used to do when we did the audio only. Every single week we had a guest. And then when we started doing the YouTube, me and Ed just enjoyed talking to you guys in the chat, and we didn't have guests very often. Well, we want to get back into the swing of having somebody every week, every other week, something like that. And when we mentioned on the last show, like, who do you want? Alex Windley's name just kept coming up. People love Alex. She's got a great following on Twitter.
Them some Alex.
Yeah, so
Alex
she's going
to a fan favorite.
She's going to join us in a few minutes. So yeah, very, very popular. People wanted to hear from her. So and she's all over the place. So but still people want to hear more. So we're going to give you more. Anyways, before we get to all that, let's go and do some business and say a big thank you to our sponsor, and that is Caneswear. Everybody needs, the new kits are coming out. The new gear has been leaked. All kinds of stuff's out there. You know where to go to get it, and that's Caneswear, located in Davie, Florida, off of University Drive, just south of 595. Hours are on the screen. They have the best deals in town. Yes, you can go to the stadium. Yes, you could get your jersey there. You will spend more. So go to Caneswear and tell them Football Miami TV sent you. You might save a little bit of extra money.
Oh,
Ed,
right.
Should we say hello to a few folks? Not a lot in the chat yet, but
they're starting to come in, Peter Brown. They're starting to come in. The very first person that's not on that list that you see is Kata. How you doing, Kata?
I see Kata
joining us. Oh, there you go. And we've got also, I sent in a little message, and then of course we got Jose Velasquez. I see. Here we go. I said Jose Velasquez is with us. Our good friend up in the cold north, Richard Greenberg, up in America's Hat.
Well, no, he's in Boca Raton this week. Richard,
nice.
Should we get together? I'm 10 minutes south of Boca.
Right there. Good old Richard Greenberg. And yeah, he said one of our players that used to be one of his players seems to be gone. We'll talk about that in a second. We got to say hi to One World, One Goal. Gosh, she loves her NASCAR, doesn't she?
I don't get it.
Yeah, I'm saying.
I don't get it.
Everybody's got, they like their stuff. Kevin Gonzalez is
left turns.
Oh, yeah. All day.
All day, left
turns.
turns.
Our friend Kevin Gonzalez is with us as well. Let me see if anybody else. Yep, we got Anthony Ornelas is also with us. And we got Guyver. Guyver's with us as well. Good old Guyver. How you doing? Footballer is also on with us. Talking about Batman and Robin.
I think he's calling us Batman and Robin.
Oh, there you go. Who's Robin now?
Oh, that's you, Ed.
Oh, come on now. Had a feeling you were going to say that. You want to be Batman. Because you're Batman, right?
You're my Robin all day.
I'm the sidekick. I'm okay with that. That's a good job. Our good friend Marvin Mieles is saying
from Ecuador. He's in Ecuador.
Yeah,
nice.
Ecuador. Did you vote? There's elections in Ecuador today. So
maybe that's why he's there.
I did that online.
So, all right. Well, that's it for right now. So that's it. Just some new more chats from the same people. Anyways, if you guys want to jump into the conversation, please do so. I'll try to pay attention to the chats a little bit tonight. Sometimes, as we're chatting and discussing, I don't look at them as much, but I will do my best to do that. And if for whatever reason Hang on. One more came in. Chris Arjun is in as well. For whatever reason, if you want to join the conversation via phone, you can leave a voicemail at 786-474-4435. But at this time, let's just go ahead and get right down to the business. Like I said, everybody loves to read what Alex writes on Twitter, follows her on Twitter. She's on the Heron Outlet, which is a website. It's a YouTube thing. It's a podcast. It's quite a few things. Our buddy Austin Robillard is on there as well.
Real journalists. Not like us.
Yeah. Well, that's why we're just a couple goofballs that like that love the sport and just have some fun with you guys. But once in a while, we'll bring on somebody that's maybe a little more credible than
knows what they're talking about. Yeah.
And that's where Alex comes in. She's also, you could also find some of her stuff on Bleacher Report. So she's all over the place. She's just getting, and she's just getting started. So let's wait no more, and let's just welcome in Alex. How you doing, Alex?
Hi guys, thanks for welcoming me on.
Our studio audience are a little slow, but there they are.
I need the cue, Ed. I need your cue. Your clap kind of goes, oh yeah, I got to go find the button.
All right, Alex. Oh my goodness, there's so much to talk about. Where do we start, Peter Brown?
Well, first off, like I said, thanks for joining us. I know you're all over the place. Like I said, everybody loves you and wanted to hear from you. So thanks for finding some time to join us. But I think what fell on our lap today was perfect timing. I had already made my thumbnail and the title of the show, but shortly thereafter, the news of Pozuelo drops, and you see how much he loves us. Not so much anymore, apparently, because Pozuelo's on his way to Turkey. Alex, what do we know about this Turkish trip there that he's taking?
Yeah, for one, Inter Miami tried hard to bring back Pozuelo. Obviously, Phil Neville said as much. Pozuelo wanted to return. The team wanted him to return, but obviously due to the sanctions and cap space, they couldn't re-sign him. The money just wasn't there. The sanctions. Plus, I do believe they're probably keeping a DP slot open for the summer. They just didn't want to fit him under the team now. Even under the team now, they would have to move someone else on in order to fit Pozuelo. So the team that they have now, they're already pretty set. There was an article on MLSsoccer.com written by Tom Bogart where he spoke to Chris Henderson and the front office, and they basically said they're pretty much set as its squad is right now as they are. So Pozuelo's a miss, but they tried hard to bring him back, but the money and the cap restraints just wouldn't let them fit with what they want to do now and in the summer. So they were negotiating, but unfortunately they couldn't find a cap friendly a deal for it, and he had to he's going to Turkey now.
That one hurts.
Yeah, so so I had a thought today. Obviously Pizarro's on the team. A lot of people aren't really thrilled with that. So in the thought has been that before the season started, that Inter Miami might buy out his contract, frees up a DP spot. And so I think the natural thought is, why didn't they do that for Pozuelo? Unless you know something maybe that we don't, in that, do they have plans for 2 DP spots in the summer? So, because part of that question is also, in this part I don't know the answer to, is I know you have a buyout clause you can use once a year, so they could use that on Pozuelo, but I don't know, are you able to use that in the middle of the season, or does it have to be at the beginning of the season? That I don't know, but please.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'd have to double check the DP rules because MLS rules are very convoluted sometimes. But yeah, there is an off-season buyout that every team has. Like I said, I don't know. I have to double check, but I'm sure they could use it in the summer as long as it's used within that secondary transfer window. But yeah, they do have a buyout option. But I think looking at the Matthias Pellegrini situation where they bought him out, but and then he was in limbo and sent to New York City, and then he was sent on to Estudiantes, then New York City FC. I don't think they want another situation like that with Pizarro. Obviously they would have moved him on if they could, but there were no buyers, essentially, and they
Right.
obviously want to return on their $12 million investment that Paul McDonough bought him for back in 2019, 2020. So
Yeah.
obviously, it's a soccer and football, but it's still a business, and obviously they want to return that investment. So they would have rather just sold him than buy him out, because buying him out would require $3 million of their own money, and realistically, that wouldn't make sense when his contract ends in a year. So why would they blow out $3 million now when this time next season Miami will have, Pizarro will probably be gone. The sanctions will be gone. They'll have a bunch of extra money and roster space to do what they want to continue to do. So from a business standpoint, buying him out now just wouldn't have made sense. I mean, they could have done it, but like I said, it's you're blowing off money for a guy whose contract ends in a year. So just wait a year, and if he plays well, maybe someone comes after him in the summer. But if he doesn't, then his contract will just expire, and that $12 million transfer fee that they paid for him, it's a dead loss for them. So it's a lose
Yeah.
lose situation all around with Pizarro and
Alex,
something like this.
who do you think of the players that we now have could probably take Pozuelo's place? I saw you put something on Twitter, your depth chart, which is really cool. I'm probably going to copy it and keep it with me. Um, there's talk about Stefanelli. Of course, we haven't seen much of him. There's Gene or Coco, they call him, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Peter likes
Coco
calling him
Jones.
Coco. And
Yeah,
and then there's Ascona.
Easier.
There's also Duke, right? Duke
yeah.
might be able to play that. But
Oh
which one?
boy.
Who do you think would be the perfect replacement for him? I don't know if you've seen the team practices or something.
Yeah, actually, I was at the Vasco game and the St. Louis City scrimmage behind the scenes, or the media only game, and yeah, Stefanelli did really well. Actually, he said, speaking to him after that game, he said he likes to play in that pocket of space. He likes
Right.
to play off of someone, up top, so he's comfortable playing in those little half spaces that a typical 10 would play. Speaking with people who know him closely and followed him when he was playing in Sweden. He can play as that second striker, left winger, number 10 player. So he does like to play off someone in front of him. Obviously, like I mentioned, like you guys mentioned, um, obviously he may not have the Pozuelo numbers, but it's really just a wait and see mode. Obviously, if he starts the season and he hits the ground running, then losing Pozuelo obviously won't be that big of a deal. Pozuelo, how much especially with the amount of money that they brought in Stefanelli, that's pretty much an Inter Miami staple at this point. With Chris Henderson in Seattle, he brought in guys that weren't as well known, but they played above the level that people expected them to, and that's kind of the vein with what Inter Miami's doing with Jean Mata, Stefanelli, Negri. Those guys aren't well known, but they're playing above the level that they acquired them for. So yeah, like for one, like I said, I think Stefanelli's going to take that spot, and he's very comfortable playing there. And if you watch, I did a breakdown on him on the Heron outlet, and yeah, he's just a hard worker. And watching him play against St. Louis, he defends. He's much more of a two-way player than Pozuelo. He'll actually go back and defend.
That's good.
Watching
Youth.
him
We
during
need
that
that.
yeah, watching him during that game, he was like he was playing like he's been there for years. Like he was clapping and urging the guys on and directing people. And we spoke to him after the game, and he said that he studies his teammates. Like for instance, if he's playing with Lassiter and Campana up top, he has to play differently and play to Ariel's strength of his speed and getting behind. But if it's Joseph and Campana, maybe he's the one who has to get in behind and feed them the balls when they're trying to get into the final third. So he's a very smart player. Obviously, like I said, it remains to be seen if he has Pozuelo's just numbers, I should say. But at this point, Miami needs to give him a chance, and I think that just talking with people and watching his tape and breaking him down, I think he'll be a really good addition in that area.
Yeah, I liked how Stefanelli talked in the post game press conference. I mean, the way like you mentioned, the way he kind of broke down and he says, if Campana does this, I need to do that, and he's this kind of player. So he's already kind of really analyzed what's in front of him, and I like that. It showed that he's kind of a cerebral player, and gave me hope that, yeah, I haven't seen him play yet. I was at the Vasco game, but clearly he didn't play in that one, and so, however, Pizarro did. And I know, like I said, Pizarro's not a fan favorite. I did not have a good first 2 years. He got humbled going to Mexico, I think, because I think he thought he was going to go and tear it up there, and it didn't happen. And but I thought in that Vasco game, and now I only got a small sample size, I thought he looked good. Do you think we might see a re-energized, a reinvigorated Pizarro that could potentially not quite be that 10, but really be a creative midfielder somehow in the mix?
Yeah, and talking with people in and around the club, obviously, they say that he's training well and looking well, and even
Right.
speaking with Phil Neville, he looks good in training, and he looks more motivated. And Phil Neville even said, I think was it mid-January or something, where he said certain locker rooms maybe wouldn't have fit Pizarro's personality, and I think he was alluding to Higuain, and that's probably one of the big reasons why maybe Pizarro didn't play to his best. Him and Higuain obviously did not get along, and I think that this is not me reporting anything. This is just my opinion. I think that's part of the reason
Just
why
have a
they.
little fun here. Go
Yeah,
off on wild tangents here. That's what we
I
do.
think it's.
I think everybody saw that too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think the reason why he was sent off on loan was because him and Higuain didn't get along, and between Higuain and Pizarro, like obviously, who are you going to choose? And obviously, shipping out Pizarro was the smarter thing for Inter Miami. So yeah, you guys may be right. Maybe he comes back and he tears it up. But I will say, we spoke to Robbie Robinson like a month ago, and he said that the team was welcoming him back to the locker room, and all the guys are happy to have him back. So it's clear he's well liked in the locker room.
That's good.
All it remains to be seen is him translating it on the field and playing a little bit better. I will say from the friendlies that I've seen, I don't think him playing as a left-sided center midfielder will do him justice. I do think that having three guys behind him playing as a 10, but obviously not like a creative 10, but more like a guy who plays off the shoulder of like a center defensive mid and tries to get into the final third. I think that's probably more his spot than a central midfielder, but that's me going off on a tangent. But yeah, Pizarro looks good, and the guys like him, and hopefully he plays well enough for someone to maybe come after him in the summer, or if not, his contract runs out at the end of this year, and then Miami moves on.
Alex, you think that we could play with one defensive midfielder?
Oh yeah, of course. In this formation, especially, I think there's a lot of. I think that's another tangent. I think that's part of the reason why there's rumors of them going after Busquets, because Busquets is that guy who can play as that lone central midfielder, and he will not lose the ball in any circumstances, at an MLS level anyway. But in that little pivot of the 4-3-1-2 that they're playing right now, so. Yeah, and we talked about that on the Heron Outlet and whatnot. Was it Gregory, Jean Mata, or is it Busquets when he comes? So, yeah, with this formation, I think looking at them at the versus the Vasco game and at the St. Louis scrimmage, Gregory, he wasn't necessarily the ball progressing central midfielder. He was the guy that cleaned up a lot of the opposition attack, and it worked well. Alongside him, he was playing with Pizarro and Robert Taylor, so. He had two offensive guys besides him. So Gregory's all of his job was to do was to clean up the defensive, the offensive opposition mess. So and it fits well, and even the build up, like they build up in like a 3-4, like 2. I need my tactics for it, but like they build up in like a back 3, and it works. It works, and even there was a goal that I posted like 2 days ago where that little one touch soccer thing. That's what they're trying to do, and. Yeah, and this formation, I think that's something that they're going to stick with, and they've been drilling it in practice in preseason, and I think it works. And whether it's Gregory or Jean Mata, they both bring different, attributes to that position. And if they get Busquets, then you have an extra added, player to give you a different dimension. So, this formation will be super flexible, and let's see if they can really perfect it as they head up into the season.
Yeah, there's a lot of games this year, so they're going to have to definitely be flexible. But let's move on to the man that we made as the thumbnail for, and that is Sergei Kryvtsov. I think I did that okay. Everybody in the chat can tell me if I screwed it up, if the Ukrainian mafia is going to come after me or not. That I've already been told I need to watch out. But what do we? So this guy comes out of nowhere. We don't know anything about him. Not on anybody's radar. But we hear he's the man. In the press conference before he was announced, the coach Neville was saying we got somebody coming in, and he's good. He kept saying he was pretty hyped on this guy. What do we know about Kryvtsov? And we hear he's a leader. What do you know, Alex?
Yeah, so Miami's getting a really good ball playing, defensive minded center back, which is, arguably they haven't had that, forever in their club history. So Kryvtsov, he's coming from Ukraine, obviously. And, he has a lot of accolades, a lot of high praises coming from him. I spoke to a fan who follows the Ukrainian league very closely, and he gave me, or they gave me a lowdown on what Kryvtsov will bring. And he's, for one, he's got excellent defensive positioning, so, a lot of Miami's goals last season, they came in, they conceded through transition, and a lot of the times it was because the defense were out of sorts, and they couldn't get back enough. But with Kryvtsov, his defensive positioning is so good that you really won't have to worry about that. He's always there at the right time, the right place, right time. So you've got a really good, just a solid defender. Admittedly, he's not the quickest, but I think Miami wants a ball playing center back that is comfortable with the ball at his feet. And with Kryvtsov, he's not going to lose the ball. He's very comfortable with the ball at his feet. He can pass through the lines. He can, hit the long balls. And I think that's part of the reason why they were comfortable getting rid of Damian Lowe. Well, Damian, he's really good in the tackles and interceptions. There are some times that he just can't, he's not that good at the ball with his feet. And with Kryvtsov, you've got a really good guy who's great at defensive positioning. He's always at the right place, right time. He's great with the ball at his feet, and he's a communicator and a leader. Playing in Ukraine, obviously with the war going on, it's difficult. But Sergei, he was the captain of Shakhtar, and he's got a strong personality, not a bad personality. He's got a really strong-willed personality, and he's got great leadership qualities. So yeah, Miami's got a Champions League experienced center back who has over 20 caps for Ukraine, and he's got international experience. He obviously may not be as well known as some of these free agent center backs that you may see on the transfer market, but he's still a very solid center back and a player that is cap friendly. So they're not gonna have to break. They didn't have to break the bank to bring him in, compared to some of these other players that you may have suggested to bring in. But yeah, Sergei, good guy, great ball playing center back, excellent defensive positioning, and he should pair well with Christopher McVeigh, who is a quicker, a speedier center back, and he could. It's kind of like one stays back and one goes and does the defensive tackling ahead, and Sergei will kind of anchor that defense a lot better than some of the other center backs that Miami has had.
Yeah, you mentioned him being budget friendly. That's oops, hang on. That's I wonder how much the Ukrainian war plays a part in that being budget friendly. I would think huge, because especially when I watch his press conference, and hey, he has a nice English. I mean, it's a thick accent, but you could clearly understand him. Talking about having to move his family to Poland during last season. To get him out of Ukraine, and now he can move them here. So I would imagine a smaller contract, but the safety, the comfort of living in the United States had to be a huge draw and part of what could potentially make him a little more affordable. Not like you're getting him for free, but a little more affordable.
Yeah, and I think that's it's unfortunate that the war is going on, but Miami were able to provide him with like a sense of safety here in the United States, and he brought his family over, and he spoke about it in the Miami Herald article with Michelle Kaufman, how it's just safety for his family. He has kids and obviously a wife, and so Yeah, it's a matter of safety, and obviously obviously he came for sporting reasons as well, but like how Joseph Martinez came down here because Venezuela, there's a lot of Venezuelans down here, and it's comfortable for him. I think people forget that culture is a big thing that when players sign. So like for example, you can't put a player. I don't know, like bringing like a I don't know, like you can't put a player outside of his comfort zone as far as culture goes. So obviously the cultural fit in Miami for Joseph and the safety for Kryvtsov and his family was a big talking, a huge signing point, I should say, for him deciding to come down to Inter Miami.
Sounds good. I think One World One Goal was saying she got a call. She was asking. I guess she wants to ask something to
right,
Alex.
Go to voicemail. Yep, I saw that. I thought you might have a question there, Ed, but we'll go to.
Mm-hmm.
It's time
Actually, I do, but...
for your voicemail.
Hello.
All right.
Hey, Peter and Uncle Ed, and of course, Alex. Just want to say welcome to the show. It's Italian One World, One Goal. I want to thank you personally for all the incredible tweets and coverage that you're giving for Inter Miami. You do a stellar job, fantastic. And Apple TV, somebody, Chris Henderson, and of course we love from our Fusion days, or anyone else in the front office, and Mr. David Beckham himself. If anyone could recommend Alex to further her career and eventually get on our Apple TV MLS podcast, we would really appreciate it. Love you guys. Love the show.
I think, Alex, you have done. Didn't you do something on MLS's podcast? Not Apple TV, but the MLS podcast?
Yeah, they have this thing where I think it's like a power rankings where they've invited me. Oh, wow. Okay. I didn't mean to stutter there, but
No,
kind of
that's
breaking
fine.
news here. Tom Bogert from MLSsoccer.com basically just broke a tweet saying Inter Miami remain in the Lionel Messi sweepstakes. It's ongoing. Nothing has decided, but Miami remain confident. And I point this out because Tom Bogert is a very credible source in MLS. And normally if it's like some random account from I don't know, Argentina saying that he'll sign for Inter Miami, I ignore. But if it's like Tom Bogart or the Times or any guy from the or woman from the Athletic, I take it seriously. But yeah, I have to shout that out because speaking of Pozuelo earlier, there's a reason why that but money, yes, but at the same time they didn't want to spend a DP spot on Pozuelo now because they're in. Like I know people are gonna roll their eyes, but they are in the Messi sweepstakes. If he signs for Miami, good. If he doesn't, whatever. But that's part of the reason why Pozuelo they didn't want to sign him as a DP because Messi and all that, and we'll probably get into that later. And it's a lot as a journalist, but it is what it is. But
yeah, well, that was where I was going earlier when I said, do they have potentially a need for 2 DP spots in the summer? Because there's been talk that if Messi comes, Busquets comes with him. And so
right. And
I would assume that's your 2 DP spots, right? If
to that point, I want to add on quickly here. To that point, like with Busquets, honestly, talking around and with people who know the cap situation and some of my colleagues, the Busquets may not need a DP spot. They may move some players around in the summer to free up some more TAM, and he could very well be a TAM player with Messi if he comes as a DP. So. Yeah, this all sounds really crazy. Like if you told the average Inter Miami fan in 2019 that they'd be in Messi in the Busquets sweepstakes, like I don't think they'd believe you. But like, yeah, that's it. It is what it is. But yeah, going back to the Apple TV thing, MLS they do have this thing called power rankings, and occasionally, yes, they'll let me on just to speak on Inter Miami a bit. And yeah, those guys are really great. Andrew Leby, David Gass, very friendly guys, and. They're just really great in the league. They're doing really good things with the Apple TV deal, and I'm excited to see that get going.
Yeah, we had what's his name? You said his name. I just now forgot it. Weeby. We had Weeby on our show years and years ago, and it was audio only, and that was funny because he was busy cooking, and we can hear him chopping as he's talking to us. So of course we end up just talking about what you're cooking.
Yeah,
chopping.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Chopping stuff,
yeah, we had that's funny because we had some shows like Eric Ronaldo. We had him one time, and he was picking up his
he was getting
his
ice
kids.
cream.
Remember?
He was getting ice cream in the drive-through with his kids.
So we've had nice little anecdotes like that.
Those are my
That's
favorite
cool.
memories with doing a stupid show like this. Is not even the soccer stuff; it's the nonsense around it that just kind of humanizes people. That's so much fun.
Yeah, going off on another tangent, soccer
Yeah.
is such a sport that I can connect anyone can connect with anyone with. Like, you can have nothing in common, but you bring up someone's favorite soccer or football team, and you'll end up having a friendship right there. So it's a great sport, and I'm really privileged to cover it, especially in America where it's still growing and building in MLS.
Um, I wanted to ask you, there's still some players. Do you think there's still going to be some player movements? I mean, we got Marsman still there. A lot of people
God, we got
thought
to
he
get
was
rid of
probably
him.
going to be gone. Yeah, Peter's all
It's
about,
just too much money for a backup player. That's all. He's fine. He's good.
Right.
He was a good.
Yeah,
but
Peter
he
is
lost
right.
his job, and he's too expensive to be backup.
Do
Yeah,
you see anybody else
yeah.
moving out? He's one of the candidates. You think there's going to be a little more movement before the season starts?
No, as far as like right now, maybe, but I think they're very satisfied with the roster they have now. Disregarding all the Messi and Busquets stuff in the summer, as the spring is as it is at the moment, they are happy with it. They're basically three deep in every position. I think center back. I personally, for me, I think I'm still a little worried because one of those guys get injured and then you're down to like four center backs, and that's not ideal, especially with the amount of games that you have. But yeah, as far as the attacking front four, like they're three deep, even center midfield. Maybe they can add someone else, but like they'll just sign someone that's cheap and cap friendly, and they can fix that depth issue right there. And Peter, to your point about Marsman, yes, he is on a lot of money as a backup keeper, and yeah, Calendar, he's far more cap friendly, and he's been balling out as the starting keeper, and yeah, next season Marsman's contract does run out, so they may not like Pizarro, they may just not renew him and let him go. So yeah,
Right,
yeah, it is a lot of money for a backup keeper. He
It
lost
is,
his job, yeah,
but
and Calendar's been balling out. So
at the same time, if our starting keeper goes down, you have confidence, right? He's a good keeper. But there's
very true.
some thoughts in the chat room. First, let's go to some love that you're getting. Says Alex Esteban Dito says, let Alex know she's loved by a lot of fans who appreciate her football knowledge and reporting. And although she is humble to take in all the credit and love from her fans. And then just a lot of people in chat going, ditto. So you know.
Thank you guys. Yeah, I don't know. I don't do it for like the accolades or anything. It's just I know when I'm like in any other thing, like I want the best and most accurate coverage, so I just try to do that for the fans and anyone who's interested, really. And yeah, no credit to me. It's really
that's
just,
where we're different. We do it completely for the accolades, for the free beer. For
free
anything
beer
anybody wants to give us, we're here. We'll take
Bring it to us.
Nobody's
super
ever,
chatters, guys. Super chatters.
Nobody's ever given us
money.
Nobody's ever given us a beer though, but still waiting. But you know,
so
that's what we're in it for.
You guys tried the arepas that they had for Joseph when?
No, I didn't. Haven't.
They're
tried
really
them.
good. They're very
those
good.
are really.
Do you think they're going to sell those in the stadium?
I hope so. I can ask one of the comms team if they'll do that. But they're very good. They gave them to us, and it was
those are the place that they come from is called Pepito's in Doral. I used to live in Doral, and it was like really close to me. I used to go there all the time. Peter, I recommend them. Hopefully, they'll have them in the stadium because they're good.
Yeah, because I'm not driving all the way to Doral for that. I'm just sorry.
No, I know you won't.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm in the neighborhood for something else, sure. But anyways, Kata got a question.
They've got a couple Pepitos around, so.
Okay. Kata has a question for you about Kramashi, and I'm not sure I'm saying that name right, but how many minutes do you expect to see from him this year? People are excited about this kid.
Yeah, I'm high on him too. He's a great player. He's still only 17, and he's still growing as a player and learning, and he's got a lot of accolades. And he was called up to the Argentine under 20 team, like in their provisional roster, but he didn't make the final roster. But he's still highly rated, and the U.S. youth national teams have to be a little bit careful because if Argentina decide to call him back, I think he'll probably go play for them. But yeah, he's really great, and I think he'll get a lot of minutes this season with the U.S. Open Cup, MLS regular season. the Leagues Cup. Miami will be playing in a lot of games this year, and even if they make the playoffs as well, so they're going to have to rotate. And Kremeshki, watching him against St. Louis in the scrimmage, he looked good. Obviously, he's still young, and he has to get into a rhythm as a player, but he looked good. And I know this is, people are going to roll their eyes and say, oh, but it's soccer, football, and you shouldn't care about that. But physically, a lot of the times when you sign homegrown players and they're like 17, 18, they're physically maybe not as strong as, say, some of the older guys, but he's physically tall and strong, and he's technically good as well, and he's still learning as a player. So I fully expect him and Noah Allen and even Ascona to get some minutes this year. They all look Ascona and Noah Allen particularly, they both made the jump and they both look ready to play MLS minutes. I was especially impressed with Noah Allen during the scrimmage. He looked really good, like really good. So I'm hyped to see them and Kremeshki as well. I think he'll get a lot of game time this year.
Do you think he's going to start on Inter Miami too?
Oh, that's a good question.
I would assume where he starts the year.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he'll go like do a back and forth thing. I think sometimes they'll send him down to Inter Miami CF2 if he's on the bench for long periods of time, if he needs game time to play with Inter Miami CF2. But if there are like games where they need to fill out the 18 during game days, I can see Kremeshki, getting put on the bench and maybe getting some like 10 minutes of time at the end of some games.
All right. Well, before we let you go, I did want to say you did tweet out along with that depth list. You also tweeted this out. So I want to let's just touch on what you think, because we were talking about Pizarro. He's not here. Some people were talking about take Taylor out in the chat. They were saying and put Pizarro over there. Talk through your thoughts on why you think this is the best starting lineup for this particular team this year.
Yeah, so I'll go with like bullet point by bullet point okay. So for my personal starting lineup, I think this is just my opinion. I don't think this is Neville will change things, but I think just looking at preseason and how they've lined up, Robert Taylor has always played in that right-sided a central midfield role. So I think that he will probably start there for one. Like the chat says, I think this will be flexible, and there will be some games where Robert Taylor gets benched for Pizarro or Bryce Duke or Victor Ijoa even. I will say Victor. Yeah, same. Victor Ijoa, I will say. Duke is good. Unfortunately, he's injured, so he hasn't been able to play in preseason, but he's close to returning. But on Victor Ijoa, like real quick, he did look good during the scrimmage. I know people give him a lot of flack, but he's that glue guy and that rotational piece that sometimes he will get game time, when there's injuries. But he did look really good playing against St. Louis, and he will get some minutes. Like you guys said, like I think this. Like I said earlier in the show, Inter Miami are like they're like three guys deep in every position, especially in like midfield and up top. So yeah, sometimes it will be Robert Taylor, sometimes it'll be Bryce Duke or Pizarro or Ijoa or Benjamin Kremeshki, depending on the opposition. But from what I've seen during preseason, I think Robert Taylor starts until Bryce Duke is fully fit and has that repetition in him and is ready to go a full 90. So I think Robert Taylor starts there. Also, I think Pizarro. I don't know. I don't think Pizarro will be a starter. I think during certain U.S. Open Cup games or League Cup games, I think he will start. But I think Jean Mata is the preferred is central midfielder in that left-sided spot because he brings much more. No shade, but he passes the ball a lot more. I know there was one instance during the St. Louis friendly where Ariel Lassiter, he was making a clean run in behind and he would have been clean through. From the St. Louis defense, but Pizarro inexplicably just held on to the ball.
That's his MO. Well, to that point, when I was watching the Vasco game, I did notice him passing the ball way more. And that's one of those things where I shouldn't necessarily be applauding because that's expected, but when we know Pizarro's tendencies, it was, all right, there's some growth there. He's moving the ball, not just holding the ball himself. But also you have up here two forwards up top. We rarely, if ever, played with two forwards, but now you think with Joseph and Campana, you got to have them both on the field, right?
Yeah, 100%. I think it gives them a nice balance because if you guys remember that goal I posted on my Twitter a couple of days ago, like with defenses, like they're not going to know who to man mark. Joseph Martinez, they know is a goal threat. Campana, they know is a goal threat. So you press Campana, like Joseph is still there, or you press Joseph, then Campana can still shoot outside the box. So
Keep
it's
them
like a
guessing,
double.
right? Keep them
Yeah, yeah,
guessing. Hmm.
it's a double threat for Miami up top, and even if Joseph is not fit or whatever, they have guys like Jake LaCava, Lassiter. I know Robbie Robinson gets a lot of flack, but I will say he does look good in preseason, and he looks more motivated and fit and sharp. They have that, and even Stefanelli, he can play as a number 9 as well if push comes to shove. And they have a lot of options up top, which is like last season, then Miami they didn't have that. They just had Campana and Higuain and maybe Coco Zan, but he was injured, so they have a
A
lot of
lot.
depth up top. Yeah, yeah, he was injured for.
See if he
I
can
think
stay.
he.
I don't want him hanging out with Robbie Robinson, who we call Mr. Glass. I don't want that rubbing
Hmm.
off on
Yeah,
Coco.
yeah,
Let's keep him
yeah.
healthy.
Yeah, but yeah, I think with in Miami, yeah, they've got a lot of depth. I know people are kind of slagging them for letting Pozuelo go, but I think it was just for Pozuelo's a money thing. But looking at this depth chart, they have a lot of just 3 players deep in like center forward. Anyone can like Bryce Duke can play as a center midfielder, whether it be Pizarro or Uzoa or Krabeshki, or they have this one Canadian on trial, Noble Okello, who they could sign as well that can play the central midfielder. Like they're deep in this position, and then in the summer, if they add Messi and Busquets comes, like that's even more depth. And yeah, it's from a rider perspective, it's crazy to see this team from early 2021 where they were just a complete disaster and not clicking. Chris Henderson he's got them on the right track, and it's just crazy to see the team evolve, and they've got a lot of good players and good depth here, and they've got a solid foundation now. So in the summer, if Messi and Busquets does come, they've got a foundation to build on that and maybe challenge for, I don't know, a US Open Cup or an MLS Cup or whatever. So yeah, Miami are in a good spot right now. I know people are disappointed about Pozuelo, but give Nicolas Stefanelli a chance. He's new, he's
Right.
ready, he's smart, he's on fire. He wants to win and play and succeed with the club and wants to win trophies. So, and he's a very smart player. So, give him a chance and let's see how they roll with him as a 10.
Well, let's hope he does step up, and we don't feel the loss of Pozuelo as much as we're all afraid it could happen. Peter Brown, any other thoughts?
Just let's end on this because I saw this question in the chat room. I don't remember who asked. Playoffs, yes or no? Do we make it? What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know how high they'll finish, but I think look at last year. They were playing with Higuain on the bench 99% of the time of the season last year until he got back in the form. They were basically playing with 0 DPs last season for large chunks. With this year, they'll have Campana back. They'll have a retooled roster that's not so imbalanced. And even in the summer, if Messi and Busquets comes, they have that extra added firepower, and they just got so much depth in the in like forward and adds the center midfielders. Yes, I do think they make the playoffs. I think they'll finish around 5th, 6th, and maybe if they're lucky, maybe they'll get 4th place in the East, which is what their goal is. But I think they'll do one better than they did last year and finish 5th.
All right.
Wow.
Well, tell everybody how they can follow you. How can we find all your writings, all your podcasts, anything you're doing? How can everybody follow you?
Yeah, so you can follow me on Twitter at AAW_1998. At the Heron Outlet, we have a Substack. So if you type in the Heron Outlet Substack, the Heron Outlet YouTube, we're always covering the team as accurately, as comprehensively as we can. Obviously, we're probably not the biggest, but I think we're just so focused on getting the news out there and as concise and readable as possible. So the Heron Outlet on Substack, the Heron Outlet on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, just type it in the search box on Google, whatever. You'll find us. And yeah, that's pretty much where you can find me. And on Bleacher Report, but that's for like U.S. men's national team stuff if you guys are
Whatever
interested.
it is. Whatever it is. Hey, thanks so much for spending some time with us. It was a lot of fun. Everybody in the chat is just saying how much they love you again and again and again. So keep up the good work, and we'll talk to you again. See you at the stadium.
Good seeing you, Alex.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys.
All right, thanks a lot.
All right,
Ed.
That was fun, man. She could talk by herself though. Man, she overtalked you, Peter Brown.
Well, yeah.
She's the guest, so she needs to talk more.
She's got a lot to say, but I talk a lot too.
Well, before we talked to her, it seemed like, I was, and hearing about Pozuelo, I was feeling down, man. I was like, oh man, we're going to be terrible this year. But now I feel a little bit better. I mean, she's been there. She's been there, watching the games and everything. She saw Stefanelli in action. And looking at her chart with all the depth, we don't look as bad as I thought we were.
Yeah. This just earlier today, you were chatting some doomsday stuff, and I think my response to you was before we spoke to Alex was, I'm curious about Stefanelli, just because I liked, like I mentioned earlier, I liked what he said. I liked how he talked. Now that's completely different, as we got to see what he does on the field. But I like the way he kind of, was cerebral about the game. So I have hope that he obviously thinks of the game in a certain way, and hopefully, Henderson knows what he's doing. I know Henderson was getting some backlash in the Twitter sphere. I spent a lot of time just reading tweets today, and he was getting some backlash about letting Pozuelo go. That we trust him, but he let Pozuelo go, and you can't keep everybody all the time. I had hoped that the lure of South Florida was enough to help Pozuelo accept less money, because he talked about his girlfriend is from here. He wants to be here. I thought that was enough of a lure, but at the end of the day, the man still wants to get paid. The lure of South Florida can wait. Is probably his thought. Like, he's probably thinking, I could come back and live in Miami in 3 years. I still got some time to play.
And he'll still be pretty good, probably. Going to Turkey is kind of a step up.
Sure.
Though it's not a team that's that's set to become that may make the Euros or anything like that. But maybe he'll definitely make more money. And I think that's important. And like I said before, I was doom and gloom earlier. I was going through my goth phase again. And but now I feel so much better after talking to Alex. Thanks, Alex. You're the best.
Yeah. And people wanting to us have her on again. So we will. We don't want to overdo it. We want to spread the love. And like we talked about before, I think we're gonna this year, have more guests than we've had in the past. I was starting to create some Twitter conversations with other people that do this in other cities. So hopefully reach out to some people, other, content creators, and have them come on and stuff like that. So
create a little rivalry there with the other teams.
Yeah, just have some fun getting
supporters.
It's no different than what we used to do on our old podcast, audio only. You used to always get us guests from other cities and stuff like that. So we'll do that. We'll have some fun. And Kata's asking for Franco. Please have Miami Nightmare Franco Panizo on, please. He's the GOAT. We will naturally have Franco on. He's a friend of the show. He's
always...
We've known him since he was a little kid, right? Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
And we will definitely have him on. We love Franco. He is a solid, reporter. Doing MLS reporting for years before there was Inter Miami. So recover.
I like how Kata's saying, or have Fernando Fluoride on, please.
Fluoride.
I like that one. Yeah, good for your teeth, I guess.
Yeah.
Fernando Fluoride. Yeah, definitely. We got to have him back. He's always very entertaining. And we'll be talking about stuff, and going back to the lineup that and the depth that we have.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, Peter, we're definitely looking a lot better. I now I'm starting to think, okay, maybe we can make the playoffs. I don't think we're going to be as high as she was saying, but but I think we could recover, especially if we get Messi and Busquets. I mean, that would be one hell of a team.
Yeah, there was a guy on Twitter, I forget is like MLS transfers or something like that. I see him tweeting a lot of stuff all the time. I don't, but his opinion, he did his little standings for the East and standings for the West, what he predicts. And he had us as 4 on the East. I think that's best case scenario 4. Of course, that's assuming we don't get Messi. If we get Messi, anything's possible. We jump up several spots, right? But as is, I think 4 would be, I think Alex mentioned that's the goal. But I think they would be ecstatic for that because I would, right now, as well.
Right.
So keep coming. Let the chats keep coming. Esteban is asking, please make her a mainstay personality to the show. She's the trio piece you are missing, especially when Ed's dial-up internet fails or you can't get the neighbor's
AOL.
Wi-Fi properly. Well, so we'll have her on from time to time. We're not going to make her the trio. This is a duo.
No, we'd have to fight with the. She's on a lot of stuff
She already has a
right
deal
now.
Yeah.
She's on another podcast. So I wouldn't want to get into it with these fellas. They probably won't want to let her go.
Yeah, exactly. Her job is a Heron outlet. Go check out what they do. So, and we've had, I mentioned before, Austin on the show several times in the past. It's been a while. He's also on the Heron outlet. Their leader over there, I forgot his name. We've never spoken to him.
Ian.
Yeah,
we should reach out to him and
so she won't be a mainstay here, but we'll have her from time to time.
Yeah,
we got to get her. We got to get Alex to loosen up a little bit. She's like very trying to be very professional. We got to encourage a little more silliness. But I get it.
Yeah.
She's just starting. She's just
but she's great,
and she's trying to have a real career in this business, not like us.
Not like us. Just trying to bake for beers and stuff. One of the guys, One World One Goal, was talking about we should try to get Kaylin Kai. We reached out to her. Hopefully she'll get back to us. She's like really busy right now.
Yeah,
so
we could reach out to her again. I think when we wrote to her, it was in between. She had not yet been announced to Apple TV. Now that she's been announced to be part of Apple TV, I think we can try again and maybe talk about that. But speaking about Apple TV, Ed, have you logged into Apple TV yet?
Peter, I haven't yet. I'm going to definitely try. I mean, I already have Apple TV, my membership. And if you hear the yelling in the background, that's my grandkid. She's going crazy. She's an Inter Miami fan, too. I haven't done it yet, but I'm sure you have, Peter. You're on top of all this technology.
So, yeah, this is a situation where you should have, and let's just be clear to anybody that's a season ticket holder, and I want to help you out here. You should have received an email from from Inter Miami with it's a link, a click here link that will take you to Apple TV for you to kind of log in and get your free access to this platform, not to Apple TV per se, but to MLS Season Pass. Remember, they are 2 different things, but yet they're commingled. So you could go, for example, even if you don't have Apple TV, even if you don't pay for it, you could still log in and see like 1 episode of like every show for free, right? So even if you don't subscribe to Apple TV, you could still log in Apple TV and see stuff. And with this, you get access to the MLS Season Pass. Do not have to be a subscriber to Apple TV, but as a season ticket holder, you should have gotten that email. But let me say, in case you did not get that email, because as everybody knows, including my ticket rep, Teddy, who is great, I don't get the emails. He's going to try to help me out again. I don't get the emails. So I reached out to Teddy and asked him to help me out. He sent me the link to click to enable my free access to this site. So, yes, Ed, I spent a lot of time on here. And so I pulled this up just to briefly talk about it a little bit. So people that aren't sure what it may look like, this is just the hero shots. But as you scroll down, you can see we've already got all the games that are coming soon.
Nice.
But let me say this, just these main shows that they've got going on here. This MLS review, this has been on ESPN Plus before, so this is nothing new. the best of MLS is just highlights. Club profiles. Club profiles are awesome. Most teams, I think it's 29 teams have the club profiles created. Inter Miami does not. Slackers.
Oh.
And then the other thing that was really good is the ritual. Again, Inter Miami does not have one yet. Slackers. They need to get on it. But both of those shows, the club profile. So let's go to the ritual just for the fun of it. When you scroll down and you see the ritual, these are all around 5 minutes long, some a little bit longer, some a little bit shorter. And each team was responsible about making their own content. So you'll see some are better than others. Some teams put more effort into it and some just mailed it in, right? Some are literally just highlight reels. Others are narrated documentaries about the rituals that are known for their team. For example, Atlanta driving in the spike, or at certain clubs singing songs after a win with the team, all kinds of rituals, which just makes me think Inter Miami doesn't really have any, and they need them. And to me, the best ritual in the entire series here is the Nashville ritual, which if you've watched any Nashville games, you would have seen they have a guitar stage. They bring out this Nashville guitar and they have guest guitarists come out and they shred a little bit. And they do the national anthem sometimes, but they get out there and the pregame thing is some dude up there or girl, because they had some women up there that were shredding. They get up there and do a little soccer shred. So that's really good. Club profiles are great. The history of each team. That's what these are. Again, some are better than others. I'll tell you, the FC Dallas one was really great. That one is a bit of a history lesson on MLS as well. So, lots of good content already loaded into this from day one. So one last thing before, is each club has their own little room. I forgot what they call them, club rooms or whatever they call them. Here's ours. You'll see the content that we do have. Now, they also have these player profiles. I don't want to play any of them because copyright. But these are new, and Inter Miami did do these, and they're very well made. Nice set behind everything. They've got about four of them, I think. And so I've watched all those. Well done. And you can watch highlights from all the games. They're supposed to apparently load full games of everything as from 2019 forward. So
nice.
Some Kata's mentioning there needs to be a drone stadium tour. There are a few drone stadium tours in here. We don't have one, but yeah, we should have one. That might be difficult though, filming a drone thing next to an airport. That might be our problem.
Yeah. And we're gonna have that problem with this stadium and the next one. So,
right.
But I'm sure they could try to get permission and when the planes start flying the other way, try to take that advantage of that and try to coordinate with the tower and make it happen. I think they could do it.
Yeah, I like what Esteban says. The Inter Miami profile should make sure to include Peter and Ed in it for sure. I mean, if nothing else, for our involvement in helping the starting of the supporters clubs.
That's true, man. We're really good at begging, and we did so much begging that we finally, helped bring a team to South Florida. So it's the least they could do, right, Peter?
Yeah. Kata had a question here I want to get to. Peter, don't you need to pay in full or a certain percentage of the season tickets to get it for free on Apple? I know, well, let's put it this way. As far as paying for it in full, no, because I have not paid for it in full. I'm on the payment plan, but I would say you probably just have to be up to date on your payments, right? I don't know if you're, if they're having a hard time getting money from you, if they're willing to give you this access. But I can tell you, you do not have to have paid for it in full, because I think I might have one or two more payments left. I'd have to look, but I have it set to auto, right? So I'm not really thinking about it much. to be honest. But so for sure, I do know that you do not have to have it paid for in full.
Cool beans.
So there's other things that are cool in here. One thing that's interesting though, it's available but it's hidden, is you can watch every MLS Cup from the very first on to last year's full games on here. And you would think they would be here in the featured series, but it's not. It's not here at all. So the only way the way I found it was being in something else, right? So if I'm inside the iconic players, for example, and you scroll down and you're watching something, it then might suggest, the past MLS Cup matches. So it's kind of a little hidden. It's kind of, but it's in there. I did watch a little bit of last year's again. And so really, really good content. What, you have any questions or thoughts on it, Ed, before we move on?
Oh yeah, I definitely haven't checked it out. It looks pretty cool, man. Too bad that, like you said, Inter Miami isn't totally updated on it yet. Hopefully they'll get on top of that. And,
in their defense, neither is Los Angeles Galaxy. So, but there's definitely some good ones. Like and you could say, well, Nashville, I mean, or Inter Miami doesn't have a long history to do the club profile, because that's what a lot of it is. It's your club history. But neither does Nashville, and we definitely have a story to tell. So they, they all have.
We don't have a ritual yet, but we definitely have a story.
I think in some of the rituals that they showed in this are literally just supporters like going into the stadium and stuff like that, and so it could end up being something like that. That, hey, as of today, that's our ritual, and it's literally just La Familia, right? But But there isn't any great ritual. Like there's so many.
I got some ideas, Peter. I mean, as soon as people walk in, we can pass the cafecitos around to people. Poor man's cocaine, or we could just drink one on the way in.
I've thought you were a little nutty for saying stuff like that in the past, but one of the rituals that I didn't know about, and that's what's cool too, is learning what other teams' rituals are. One of the rituals in FC Dallas is the guy that's the player of the game. The best player, we hand them some little award. They hold like some Heineken soccer ball or whatever it is. In Dallas, they hand them a cowboy hat with an FC Dallas logo on it. So these players basically get to collect cowboy hats. I mean, if you're, I'm assuming player of the week multiple times, you're going to have multiple cowboy hats. But they get that cowboy hat, they wear it, they walk over to the end zone where the fans are. They say thank you to the fans and celebrate.
That's cool.
It's a simple little thing. So along your line of thinking, hand them a cup of coffee.
There you go. I like that. They score, have him a little cafecito, pour him the thing, and he'll take the shot and, with the fans, that would be kind of cool. I mean, just throwing it out there. Or bite an arepa, have somebody have the arepa right there ready. Celebrates the goal, bites it. I don't know.
Our buddy from World Soccer Talk, Christopher Harris, says, I think season tickets have to be 25% paid to get the free MLS season pass. Okay, so makes sense. And
I definitely got 25% paid already. So where's my season pass?
Well, again, Ed, if you didn't get the email, reach out and ask for it. I do not get any of the emails, so I hear you. I know Christopher Harris had mentioned in a tweet he was wanting to hear our take on Wrexham, and Esteban saying no Wrexham talk on this football show.
I haven't even watched it, man. To tell you, you told me I should go check it out. I haven't checked it out.
It's on Hulu. It's a great show, and I think where he's going with it, and where World Soccer Talk, I saw some tweets, and I think they wrote a story about it, is that Wrexham is going to be doing some sort of U.S. tour where they're playing in some sort of tournament, which is not their starting lineup. It's more like a 7v7, 7v7 or something like that. And there's $1 million prize. There's that. And then there was also a situation where their I think their game in their FA Cup game got way more publicity from ESPN than any MLS team has ever gotten. Right? They promote it. And keep in mind, Wrexham is like a 5th or 6th division team. They're really low and they got a much greater push than any MLS team, and that's got people talking and stuff like that. And there was one Wrexham player that basically, I think it was a player, who said, and I would agree with him, the reason for that is Wrexham is this hot new toy, and if it was every week, if they were in a big game every week, nobody would care. But because you've got these two famous owners, they've got this TV series, it makes them the hot new toy for today, and they're fun to watch. I mean, heck, I'm guilty. I was looking online to see if I could find a Wrexham T-shirt. Now, I'm not buying their jersey. I'm not spending that kind of money. But a T-shirt, I might wear a Wrexham T-shirt. It's a great show. It's entertaining.
All right. That's cool. I'll definitely check it out, Peter, so we can talk about it. Yeah,
Chris Harris says we need a Welcome to Inter Miami series. And that's one of the things I am hopeful for as we wrap this up. I know I'm going long, Ed. I could keep because where's my thing that I had? If we going back to Apple TV, what I'm hoping is that Apple does create those kind of shows with MLS that they talked about their partners. It's not just we're airing your games. They are partners. They're part of the family. So I would hope there's more story-driven stuff, more documentary style stories. There is a cool story on here that I'd like to see more of. It was here in Beyond the Pitch. So this is kind of like that, a story about the player off the field. There's stories to be told in MLS, and they need to do more of them. So far, they only have one, and it's about Sebastian Leggett, or however you say his last name. And
Legit, I think it is.
Legit. He's legit, too legit. And it's about his business.
Too legit to quit.
Yeah, it's about his business off the field. So
he dates a famous reggaeton. I think she's reggaeton. Yeah,
Becky G. She's in the show. So. She's in the. I mean, a show. It's like a 6-minute video thing, but she's in it. So yeah,
that's pretty cool. They got to do more of that then.
I think so. They got to tell more stories. Where's my thing? They got to tell more stories, and
we got Sergii. He could be on one of them.
Exactly.
He definitely has a story. Yeah?
Exactly.
See,
geez.
We're giving them ideas, here.
Right.
Apple TV. Come on, man. We should trademark that one.
So Christopher Harris also adding to the Wrexham are playing MLS teams in the summer tour this summer as well. Would love to see them play in Miami. Ryan Reynolds versus David Beckham. Exactly. That'd be awesome.
That would be awesome. Nice. Yeah.
And anybody sending hate to the Wrexham thing, I don't know. Here's Esteban is the guy that's going to send the hate.
He's a hater.
He says Wrexham is a manufactured, Hollywood-driven boys marketing tactic, and they are trying to sell this as the best thing since sliced bread. A lot of people are benefiting from promoting this faux story. Look, I don't care if it manufactured or not. They were a real team. Two real people bought it. Now, of course, Phil McElhenney had the intent of buying the team to make a TV series. That was part of it. But it's an entertaining TV. At the end of the day, was it a fun TV show? Yes. Did that actually encourage me or make me want to watch their FA Cup game? Yes. So it's working. And for some of us, maybe not you, Esteban, I was fun.
It all started with Ted Lasso, right? Ted Lasso, I think, was the first one that came up with this idea, and
maybe they saw
a soccer TV show.
Yeah, maybe they saw the success of Ted Lasso and said, "Hey, we want to get in on this. There's money to be made." And to say it's a Hollywood money marketing, so what? Aren't we allowed to make money in this country? Or I'm sorry, in England or Wales or wherever? What's wrong with it?
What is it? Is it kind of like a reality show?
100%
thing.
Yeah, It is a show.
Oh, we could do that with Inter Miami, easy.
Oh yeah, it is literally a show where they talk about them wanting to buy a team and the struggles with that. There's a lot of humor in it because of who the owners are. And
Jorge Mas, come on, guys! You guys, they're all get David Beckham in there, dude. If we get Messi, imagine that story, Peter Brown.
I mean, look, Beckham already has a show that we talked about on this channel, Save Our Squad.
Yeah.
So along those same lines, bringing MLS to Miami. I mean, that is a show for sure.
Right. and I
All
think
right.
they'll get people to watch. Just from David Beckham, they put David Beckham anywhere. The ladies at least will be watching.
That's it.
They'll make their money. They'll make their money.
All right, everybody. A little extra, 10 minutes of extra time, thanks to Christopher Harris for bringing up Wrexham. But any last thoughts before we head out, Ed?
Oh, Peter Brown, I think we're wondering about, I think next weekend is Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
So if you guys want, we can try to do it on a Monday. If Peter's up for it, I think we could do it. It'll have to be a little bit later.
So
9-ish.
Let us know in the chat. Should we do the show on Super Bowl Sunday? Will you guys watch and join us?
Or leave it in the comments.
At the end of the day, I don't need to watch the game. But in the past, we have not done a show on Super Bowl Sunday because, everybody's got their Super Bowl parties they want to go to, and they're not, spending time on this. But if you guys are going to tune in, and we need more than one or two of you to say that, we could do the show on Sunday. If not, maybe we could do it on, like Ed said, a later time on Monday and put out a fun show.
Yeah.
Then
put it in the chat or put it in the comments, and according to that, we'll see if we maneuver it.
Exactly. So we'll see. There may or may not be a show next weekend. It's up to you to let us know when you want it. Sunday, during the Super Bowl, before the Super Bowl, whatever it is, or on Monday, or should we just skip the week? So you guys let us know, and we will we'll do it. Because there's so much to talk about. It's only, I think it was Richard Greenberg that said, only 3 weeks to go, Ed. And I didn't even get a chance to talk about this football fiesta that I'm so excited to go to.
I'm going there too.
Super excited. We could talk more about this next week as far as what the festivities are. But season ticket holders get in for free. I'm not sure what the cost is if you're not a season ticket holder or what the deal is. But somebody else was asking when the jersey will be revealed. It is on this. At this event, the jersey will be revealed, and that's where you could go and buy it. But I would recommend you wait and buy it at Caneswear. But
Caneswear's the place to go.
Yeah, so we could talk more about this next week as well and go into more detail, but I'm excited for that. I like what Esteban says here. I expect FMTV on Sunday. Super Bowl should have scheduled around this show.
That's true. So at least they could do.
That is true. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. We had a lot of fun. Thanks to Alex Windley. Check her out on the Heron Outlet and all her social medias. And all the links are in the description of this video. So thank you to Alex for joining us. And thank you, everybody in the chat and everybody watching this at a later date. We really appreciate you. It's nothing without you. So see you next week.